Okay, we just finished our math message, and we are going to do one practice number story that involves adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So let's read what they're asking us. Omar is choosing between two backpacks. So it's already starting to sound a little familiar from that math message. The green one, and you know Miss Mold likes to color code. The green one weighs 1 6/8 pounds. I don't have a gray, so we'll just do yellow. The gray one weighs 7/8 of a pound more than the green one. How much does the gray backpack weigh? So the first thing that you're going to want to do is write a possible number model. So here's what we know. We know that the green one weighs 1 6/8 pounds. And we don't know how much the gray one is. That's our unknown value. But we do know that the gray weighs 7/8 of a pound more. So it weighs 7/8 more. So how would we write this in a number model? So our number model with our unknown would be the weight of the green backpack plus how much more the gray one weighs, which is 7/8. And that would give you, let's do B for backpack instead. Make this a little smaller. That'll give you how much the gray backpack weighs. So now that we have our number model, we're going to use 3 different strategies to solve. So the first strategy that we're going to do is going to be to decompose. And remember, decompose means to break down into smaller parts. And you probably hear the word decompose when you're talking about food. So that's why it's really important to recycle certain things, because plastic items, they don't break down, but food can actually be broken down so small that it goes right back into the soil. So decompose just means to break into smaller parts. So I can take that 7/8 and I can turn it into the sum, or 2/8 plus 5/8. That would equal 7/8. So I'm decomposing it into smaller parts. So that way I know, and I made my funny 2, so let me write that over. 2/8. And there's a reason why I broke it up into 5 and 2. Because I know that if I add 2/8 to the 6/8, I'm going to get a whole, right? Because 2 plus 6 is going to give you 8, and 8/8 is 1 whole. So that's what I'm going to do. So I have 1 6/8 plus that 2/8 and plus 5/8. So I'm going to do these two first. 6/8 plus 2/8 is going to give me a whole. So now I'm going to turn this into 1 whole plus 1 whole plus 5/8 gives me 2 and 5/8. So that's the decomposing the fraction method. Now, the next method is going to be decomposing, instead of the fraction, we're going to be decomposing the mixed number. So a little bit similar, because see, in our number model, we have a mixed number here, and here we have a fraction. In the last problem, we had 2 mixed numbers. So now we have just a fraction and a mixed number. So we have to do different strategies to solve. So now I'm going to decompose the mixed number. And which one is the mixed number? Good. If you thought it was 1 6/8, you would be correct. So we're going to take that 1 6/8 and we're going to break it down into smaller parts. So I could take out the whole, and then I'm going to do 6. How could I decompose 6? Well, I know 5 plus 1 is 6, so I could do 1 plus 5/8 plus 1/8. And I did that for a very specific reason. Just like we did in strategy number 1, we want to try to make a whole. And I know that 1/8 plus 7/8 will give me that whole. So if I do that, if I do 1 plus 5/8 plus 1/8 plus 7/8, I can group these two together because I know that equals 8/8 or 1 whole. So now I have 1 whole plus 1 whole plus 5/8, which would give me 2 5/8. So I used 2 different strategies, but I still got the same answer. So the first strategy, I decomposed the fraction, which was 7/8, and I got that right from the problem, right here. And then the second strategy is decomposing the mixed number. The mixed number, which again, straight from the problem, is 1 6/8. So it's 2 different ways to try to solve. The other way that you can try to solve is by turning that mixed number into an improper fraction. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So let me erase my workspace. Okay, so I'm going to turn that 1 6/8 into a improper fraction. And the way that I do that is to convert that 1 into a whole. So to do that, you always look at the denominator. And if I have 8/8, it's equal to 1 whole. So I just replaced this whole number with 8/8. 8/8 plus 6/8, which I got from right here, equals 14/8. So I get an improper fraction. So this is just showing you that 1 6/8 is equivalent, means the same, has the same value as 14/8. Now you can add. So you can do 14/8 is equal to adding. So 14/8 plus 7/8 will give you 21/8. So the only problem with doing this strategy is then you have to now change this improper fraction back to a mixed number. And like we knew from the other previous strategies, the answer is 2 5/8 because you can't always leave it as a mixed number. So I would either decompose the fraction or decompose the mixed number before I used improper fractions. Okay, so look at the next video to go step by step how to solve the number stories that are in your journal pages.